Welcome to our live stream of high school sports. Please note that this broadcast is produced by an independent team of sports enthusiasts, and the views, opinions, and commentary expressed are solely those of the commentators and not representative of the schools, teams, or athletes featured. While we strive for accuracy, occasional errors or misstatements may occur. This stream is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the show.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Hey, you ain't never seen nothing like this. Ain't no telling how it might get. It's the hypest right here. High school sports at its finest. So many highlights, you have to rewind it. Hey, Stream City, let me just remind you. The heart of a lion, a team full of fighters. So many stars on the field, it'll blind you. They're giving everything they got till the time's up. Yeah, legends in the making. History is made. We just getting started. You ain't seen a thing. YSN, gotta know the name. They gon' bring the flames. They gon' do their thing. Take it to another level, don't hold back. High school, got a passion and we show that. Got the drive and you know they got the heart. Number one spot for your high school sports. Let's go for the win. Hey.
What is going on, everybody? It is another Wednesday episode of YSN Live coming at you. It is March 18th, 2026. The only one of those you're going to get, so let's make it the best one. We're happy that you're able to spend that day with us on this lunch hour, 12 to 1. It is the last episode of Wrestling Wednesday, and we could not do it without the guru, the expert, the man himself, Gary Altizer, coming on for one last show, our state championship recap. Gary Altizer, head coach of the Wellsville Tigers, and wrestling guru for YSN. Gary, thanks for another great season. Here we go.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It was a great time. Can't believe it's over, but I had another really fun year.
Well, YSN had a fun year, especially when it came to the state tournament. We had so much success. We were talking before the show started to make sure our numbers were correct. 8 wrestlers in the finals this year for state, which means 8 wrestlers ended up with a chance of winning a state championship. We had 2 win those finals, so 2 state champions. So we'll start with them. A shout out to Jake Hughes, who will be joining us very shortly. Here to talk about his state championship moment from Beaver Local, and then also from Hoban going back to back. Bryden Feister of the Hoban Knights wins for his second year in a row as a sophomore. Both of our state champions are actually sophomores, so both of them are going to be here for quite a while, and could have continued success as they go on to their upperclassmen years. First, Gary, let's talk about the champions. I'm sure you saw the results and tried to check in on the matches if you could. What do you see out of Bryden and Jake that kind of drew them apart from the rest?
Yeah, I watched both. In Bryden's match, he controlled the match. He's not, the heavyweight class goes to 285. He's not a 285 guy. He's around 240. And the kid he wrestled from Canton South might have been 5 or 10 pounds lighter than him. So you saw 2 guys that, were 230, 240 going at it. Usually you're seeing the big guys, the guys that are really impossible to score on. And these guys were taking shots. Bryden had this really nice takedown out of bounds where he went in and just blast doubled on the edge of the mat. And his opponent was going right back at him. You don't get to the state finals without having a quality wrestler across from you. So, seeing the evolution of the heavyweight class, this has happened in college now, where it used to be these big lumbering guys that weighed 320 or 330 in the offseason, cutting down to 285. Now you're seeing, guys being 240, 250 that are more athletic. And I think that it's funneling down to the high school. And as far as Jake's match, he did what he had to do to win. Went to a tiebreaker in overtime, and he was able to hang on. And I literally mean hang on. I'm sure he'll be telling us all about that. He did it against a kid that had been ranked number 1 all year long. The top 3 in that weight class with Jake, his opponent, and then one other kid that Jake had wrestled a couple times in the sectional and district. They were really close, but this opponent that he had, Tommy Rollins from Columbus Watterson, he was the clear-cut favorite as far as the amount of weeks that he spent at number one. So for him to be able to come away with the win in the fashion he did, I know that's got to be an exciting feeling and a really great feeling for him.
And then when you go outside of those two, Gary, we had 6 other wrestlers that got into the championships, so 8 total. 3 from the girls section with Paige Cowan, Reagan Koch, and Austin Brown from United. And then 3 more from the boys, Tyson C. Schultz, 2 from Southeast Kimball, and I don't know why the second Southeast Pirates name.
Katra.
Yeah, you're right. You got it. That's why you're the guru. I'm not. And then C. Schultz, those are the 3. I count them as one in my head because they're both from the same school. So when you talk about getting to the finals, and obviously, you were telling me when they won their semis, they were underdogs going into the championship. They were all wrestling very highly ranked favorite kind of wrestlers in the state. But to get there is impressive and as well. So talk about kind of what they did so well through the whole round and what they did in the semis to get there, and then what it was like to kind of see them go up against quote unquote juggernauts in the championship.
Yeah, really impressive weekend by Southeast. We had some of their wrestlers on during the year, and they talked about that room and how hard they push themselves and how hard they push each other. And, you saw that they finished 8th overall in Division III, had 2 guys make it to the finals. And they had another, I believe, finished in the top 4. They were right there. They were able to put together the wins when they needed to get to the finals. The most exciting semifinal match was Austin Brown at United. She was down 12-1, I think, in the third period, and came back big and won 14-12, I think was the final. Talk about gutting it out and not quitting. And I saw an interview with her after the match, and that's what she said. She said, I just wasn't going to quit. I just kept working and working and working. She was able to get the points that she needed to get to the finals. And then, on the girls' side, there was a couple of them that got pins. Reagan Koch from Fitch, I believe she got a quick pin in the semifinal. And then Paige Cowan, she got up. She was winning. And in that third period, her opponent was on top, turning her to get back points. She fought. She didn't give up, the amount of points her opponent needed to move on, and she held on to get the win. So you see a lot of gutsy performances in the semifinals because people want to get to the finals so bad to have a chance to win that state title. And to do that, you've got to gut through a lot of hard positions, hard situations, and you've got to keep pushing, to do what you've got to do to win. And we saw that with the YSN family this weekend.
Yeah, we get the names for Southeast. I want to make sure we get them because they deserve the. Dominic Kimball and Gavin Cantera were the 2 Southeast Pirates that got to the state finals. So wanted to make sure they got their reps. How about this? Cantera finishes his freshman year 49-3, and then the state runner-up. Wow. And he got a couple of pins in his run to that state championship round. So that's we see the sophomores that won. Cantera's a freshman. These young wrestlers are just coming up and not shying away from that moment, from that stage, and it's really impressive. Gary, when we talk about the placers, I mean, it doesn't just come down to the first and second place players, but also we had so many people on the podium. Talk about what you saw from the other wrestlers that got their way to the podium in the top 8, and how many placers we got.
Please forgive me if I leave anybody out that had a great performance. I tried to keep up as much as I could. I believe we counted 49, but there were actually, I think, 51 total qualifiers, Anthony. There were a couple that I missed when we was going through and just trying to count in each division. But I think we had 27 placers total. Beaver Local and Louisville both had 4 each, if I'm remembering correctly. Austintown Fitch girls, they did the best on the girls side. I believe they finished in 12th place. Louisville finished in 14th in Division 1. Beaver Local in 4th in Division 2, and then Southeast in 8th in Division 3. What did I see? I just saw, kids coming through, doing what they had to do to get on the podium. The blood round matches, I talked about the blood round matches in the districts. And when you're in the districts, that blood round, it means a lot because, hey, you win this, you go to state tournament, you lose it, you don't. Same thing at the state tournament in the blood round. You win this, you're a state placer, you don't, you fall out. So we saw a lot of gutsy matches there, a lot of people coming through, doing what they needed to do. Bobby Buhite, have to give him a shout out. He's a 4-time state placer now for Beaver Local. I saw a lot of great wrestling, and really, I'd say this year by far is the best wrestling we've seen in the YSN network from our schools. These kids are really taking big steps forward. The girls side, we're seeing some really good wrestlers really coming into their own, and just things that just seem to be coming together for everybody in this area. It really is a good area for wrestling, and everybody around here is really seeing statewide what kind of quality athletes we have here.
When we asked you what the number was that your prediction was last week, you said 21. So we went above your expectations, which is always awesome. When you think about you said it too. If you lose in the state run early and then you work your way back to placing, we saw a couple of wrestlers do that. Maybe they lose their first or second match, and then they had to kind of work their way through finding disappointment. But then wrestling is a sport that I love because when you go to state, one loss doesn't end your run there, which is different than every other sport. If you're in state in any other sport, if you lose, you're out. You're in the Final Four, whatever. So in state for wrestling, you can still fight your way through disappointment. And we saw wrestlers do that. But talk about how hard that is for a kid that, you go into state with so much anticipation and excitement. And if you lose one of your first matches, it's almost like popping the bubble, and you have to reignite those engines to get into a spot in the podium. Talk about what it takes for that.
It takes a ton of heart. Really, you see the kids that get third place. Those are the ones that really they have a big heart. They don't let their mindsets are right. They don't let their heads get down too much. You have to, because most of the time, not always, but most of the time, those third and fourth place matches are with the kids who get to the semifinals. So the way it works, you get to the semifinals, which is the final four, 2 at the top half of the bracket, 2 at the bottom half. The losers of those matches drop down to the consolation semifinals, and if you win that match, you go for third and fourth. So usually you will see those losers from the semifinals are the ones that go for third and fourth, but not always, because sometimes, if you have your heart broken, you're not going to get to the state finals. You sometimes mentally can't get over that. So the kids that can and can push through and get third place, not that everybody there doesn't have heart. You can't get to the state tournament. You can't place without heart, but you really have to be able to push through some disappointment to get to that third place. And once in a while, you'll see a kid lose their first match and wrestle all the way back through for third. That is a very rare feat. And there are even special awards they give out, like at our OVAC tournament. There was an award, and I think they still do give it out. I think they called it the Hercules Award. If you lose your first match and then wrestle all the way back through for third, you get a special award for that, because that is so hard to do. You've got to wrestle a ton of matches, and you've got to win against people who are trying to fight to get on the podium and then trying to fight to get higher. And to be able to do that, you got to show you got to show some stamina along with that.
And then one of the coolest parts of the whole weekend, you've been there for it, of course, the Parade of Champions that happens before the championship matches. Talk about what it's like to kind of go through that as a kid and be able to experience that.
It's a big moment for the kids. They get to, be recognized. Everybody gets to see them out there, in front of the biggest tournament in the state, in front of all the eyes. You talk about where are you going to get the most eyes on you? It's going to be at the state tournament. It's an exciting thing for the kids. They love it. They soak it in. They got the nerves running through them. And that's a big arena there. I don't know if you've ever been there, Anthony, but it's a heck of an arena. It's super nice. And, it's full. There isn't that first round, there isn't an empty seat. So by the time you get to that Parade of Champions, there's still a big crowd there. Everybody gets to see you, and, you get to show everybody that you belong. And it's kind of nice to see the kids get recognized like that. it's picked up momentum, and there are a lot of tournaments that do that now, but there's none that mean more than the state tournament.
Now we welcome in a guy that got a parade when he came back to Beaver Local because they were so happy with what he was able to do. A state champion and just a sophomore going into now being an upperclassman as he goes into next year as a reigning state champion, someone that we've had on the program before, we're huge fans of, and we can't wait to talk to again about his championship moment from Beaver Local, Jake Hughes. Let's go, buddy. Jake, first and foremost, congratulations, man.
Thank
the
you.
state championship is so awesome. Talk about what it was like grinding through the whole weekend and getting to that championship match where you were, I think Gary said you were a favorite when you look at the numbers, and then being able to finish the job. What was it like for you?
Yeah, I mean, coming into the tournament, I knew I was obviously good enough to win it, but I knew I'd have to put everything together to do it because the kid I had in the finals, Tommy, is a great competitor. Even the kid I wrestled at districts before, Loudon, won it last year. He's a great wrestler. And even just all weekend, just doing everything I can to where it's what I'm eating right before my matches, what I'm doing in my warm-ups. It's just I just tried to put everything I could together, and it ended up paying off.
So, Jake, let's just get right to the chase, man. Your match come down to literally the end. In those last 5 seconds, I can't imagine what you were going through mentally. Why don't you talk to us about that and kind of explain to the viewers what was happening?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, throughout the whole match, it was a lot of just hand fight, a couple of shots here and there that couldn't get finished. But even after every out of bounds we went, after every period, just looking at my coaches, taking a deep breath, and just telling myself that I can win this. My conditioning's better. And then once we got into those ride outs, obviously, I went down first. I got out pretty quick. And then he goes down, and we get in that crab ride. And it's just staying calm and being like, I've been here before in practice. I've been in this situation a million times. There's nothing different. Just staying calm and doing what I know how to do in that situation and just getting the ride out.
We like to ask about the championship moments when a player or a team wins and the buzzer sounds, or in your case, the whistle's blown and you know that you're a state champion. What was that like for you? What was going through your head when it was over and you realized that you won?
Yeah, the second that clock ran out, and the first people I look at was obviously Johnny and Cole because they've been with me through this entire journey. And having them in my corner and just seeing them the way that they were happy for me meant everything to me. And then even just looking up in the crowd and seeing my parents, it was just a rush of emotion.
So, now you look to your last 2 years, you've done it. You've got to the pinnacle. You've got to the peak of where every high school wrestler wants to go. What are you telling yourself now? What are you going to do in this off season to keep yourself motivated? That's a big thing for people. Once they win the state tournament, they got to keep themselves motivated. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely proud of myself for accomplishing this goal, but I'm definitely not satisfied with it because I know there's bigger. It's just a step. It's just a puzzle piece to other things that I want to accomplish. I mean, I even have NHSCAs in 2 weeks, and that's my next focus right now. But just not being satisfied with it and just knowing that there's always a new goal to reach, and just even in this off season, just training like it didn't go my way this year, and just being just as hungry next year as I was this year.
You were not the only wrestler in Beaver Local that had success down there. Your team finished as 4th in the division. What was it like seeing everyone kind of do their thing? And obviously we've talked about your wrestling room and how much they push you and how much you push them. But what was it like to kind of see your teammates thrive in the moment and the team do so well down there in Columbus?
Yeah, it's great. Just seeing that everyone down there was winning matches and just seeing like from Bobby, Evan, Jordan, all those kids placing. And then even like whenever I got done with my match, just seeing the support that those kids had for me, it just means a lot. And even if I feel like there was definitely things that our team could have put a couple more things together this weekend, everyone out there competed. And that's just what we love to see. No one gave up this weekend, even after a loss. Those kids battled back, and it just showed a lot of heart from those kids.
Yeah, so we ask a question every week about what your favorite food is after weigh-ins, but now I'm going to ask you a little different. You don't have to worry about that. You said you got some tournaments coming up. Is there anything you okay? The stress is off. I got a little bit of play in my weight. Anything that you're looking forward to this eating this off season? Maybe you've held off for all season long.
Um, I wouldn't say I've went crazy so far, just because I know I do have to compete in a week now, but just a lot of just going out to restaurants with my family and stuff.
Yeah.
There's not like a certain like food that, like, I'm like, man, I can't wait to eat this after the season. But it's just an enjoyable time to go out with your friends, go to a restaurant on a Thursday night or something, go eat with your family for lunch, and it's just stuff like that that just takes like a break for a little bit.
No more. I'll have an ice water, right?
Those emotions that flow after you win, now that you're a couple of days removed from the rawness of winning a state championship, what kind of things sink in? What kind of things do you think about, get reflective about? What kind of things are you kind of proud of yourself for doing this whole season, now that you can kind of, stop and reflect on the whole year? The year's over. You did what you set out to do. What were some things that kind of sunk into you in the last couple of days?
Mostly through these past couple of days, I've just been trying to think about what was different in my mindset, what was different in my training, what was different in the little things that I was doing compared to last year when I fell up short. And it's just trying to get all those things to click, and that I know those are the right things that I need to be doing. Just trying to get those little things that I was like, this made a little bit of a difference. So that way I can keep doing those things over and over again now. But also, like, I went back and watched my finals match 5 times by now, and just I'm getting to the point now to where I'm going back and dissecting what I could have done even better to open that match up more, to where I could have went and scored more points there, and just going through my whole state tournament and just looking at the things that I can learn from that I didn't do 100% right, and just trying to grow from it.
I have a quick follow-up, because we hear athletes sometimes talk about in big moments, they kind of black out. They didn't really know what was going on in the moment. When you watch that tape back, when you watch the championship match back, how much of it do you actually remember? Like, oh yeah, I remember when I did that, or was some of it like a surprise? Like, I don't even remember that happening in that match.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of it's surreal in the moment, but I knew going out to that match that I have to be as focused as I can, and just everything that happened, just trying to stay calm and not let the stage or let the pressure of it being the state finals get to me. Just trying to think that it's another 6-minute live go at practice. And so I think that kind of helped me a little bit with just staying focused and in the moment. So I don't think there's a whole lot of, man, that was a state tournament. So I don't really remember a lot of it. It was all just like on the spot. Because I really tried to just bring it down to, this is another 6-minute go, stay focused on the next move, the next position.
Every high school wrestler, when they're thinking about wrestling, they have a dream of being a state champ and how that would feel. Why don't you tell everybody what it actually feels like? What did you feel like after those minutes ran out, that time ran off, and you knew you were a state champ? How did it feel, and did it feel what you thought it would?
Yeah, I mean, mostly just a lot of gratitude. You know what I mean? Just grateful that I was able to accomplish something that I knew I worked hard enough to complete. Just that for all the people around me, because whenever I walked back upstairs to Schottenstein Center and saw all of my school administration that was there, my parents that were there, little kids that I've trained that were up there, my teammates, just thinking about that, just seeing all the support that I had behind me, and just being grateful for everything that people have supporting me and for the position that I was in to be there.
As soon as you've been a role model for a long time, but when you win a state championship, that role model level goes up even more, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of kids that reach out to you that want to know, what you do differently, what were some of the key moments, what were some things that you did, so they can try to reach their moment, they can try to reach their trophy. One of my last questions for you: what's the advice you give? What are some things that you think is advice for up and coming wrestlers that want a state championship next year? What's it take? What are some things that you think were the key?
Just every day, try to get better in a certain thing, no matter what it is. If you're walking into the practice room, and whenever you walk out of that practice room, knowing that you got better at something, no matter what it is, whether it's a single leg, conditioning, even if it was just a little mindset change that a coach told you at practice, just trying to get that 1% better every day. That's what you need to do, because then eventually it'll all build up to where you need to be.
My last question for you, Jake. Now is the time you can give a shout out to your teammates, your family. Tell us about, who is it that helped you? No great wrestler goes without great drilling partner or partners or people in their life. Talk about those people and tell us what they mean to you.
Yeah, first is definitely my parents, because they've been here since I first signed up for wrestling, and they push me to be the best version of myself I can be, whether we're button heads while I'm cutting weight or button heads about something stupid. I know that no matter what they're telling me, it's for my best interest. And other than that, Cole and Johnny McComas, just me and Cole were training together just by ourselves this summer, just going live goes, working on positions. Cole was a great partner that I had to work with all year, pushing me to work on stuff that I wouldn't be able to work on with certain kids. And also Adam Kabala, he's not one of my school coaches, but he's a club coach that works with me a lot. And he was there making sure that all year, no matter what I was drilling, it was precise. If I would hit a single leg just a little bit wrong, he would let me know what was wrong about it. And even at the state tournament, Adam was telling me, like, my warm-up, there would be a little thing that I need to fix here. And he just kept me to where everything I do had to be on point. And I can't be any more thankful for these people pushing me to be the best version of myself I can be.
Jake, we are so proud of you here at YSN for everything you've accomplished, and we know that there's so many other people that are proud of you as well. Just another mountain to climb. We know the journey's not over. You still have plenty that you want to do, and we're going to be there for you throughout the whole rung of your high school journey. We thank you so much for your time. We hope you didn't take too much of your lunch break. We hope you still get some time to go eat something nice before the second half of your school day, and we'll see you again real soon, all right?
Yep, thank you. I also appreciate the support that you guys have having me on here.
You got it, buddy. We'll have you again next year, all right? Lock it down next year,
Yep.
Wrestling Wednesday with Jake Hughes. Jake, thanks for the time again,
Thanks, Jake.
and we'll see you soon.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Jake Hughes from Beaver Local, state champion, one of the two in the YSN family that won state, him and Brian Feaster from Hoban, both winning the state championships, both as sophomores and both with very bright futures ahead. Gary, as we talk about this kind of wrapping up the whole season, as now we're in the final stages of the season finale, what are some of your big takeaways? What are some things that you really think made this season special that you don't want to forget about this 2026 wrestling year?
Oh boy, that's a good question. What made this season special? I just feel like the level of wrestling that I saw was even better this year than maybe last year. The participation, we've talked about that. The numbers from the schools, they're great. So many schools are just pushing the sport, and the kids are talking about it and getting their friends to come out. It makes me think about new schools that have the sport. Lakeview added this year, there are 22 kids on their team. You never saw that in the past. When a school would add a sport, it would be just a couple of kids coming out, and now you're seeing those numbers increase. You're seeing the girls get so much better, and like you said, we've got these younger kids. We've got freshmen and sophomores in the state finals and winning state championships. The sport is becoming so much more mainstream. The connections that people are making, the relationships that they're building, and the high-level training that's coming when these kids are younger. And now you're seeing these younger kids who are coming in with more matches and with more mat time than the seniors have as a freshman, because they're making these connections through social media, through the internet, through these tournaments, just through the way the community is coming together. It's always been a tight-knit community, and you're just seeing the best of the best blossom because of that. These kids are exposed to so many different styles, so many different kinds of coaching, so many different philosophies, that they're so well-rounded that the level is increasing and getting better.
This is hard because it was such a great year, but what are some things that you want to see next year? What are some things that you hope that, you raise the bar a little bit for next year as we talk about, looking forward to the next season of not just Wrestling Wednesday, but wrestling as a whole?
Well, we had 8 finalists. That's a high bar. Next year, let's get the same amount in, and let's get half of those to be state champs. If you're asking me where to go, I think that would be the only place we could go as a network to really get any better. Because, man, I can't explain to you how high that bar is to get that many qualify, over 50 qualifiers. More than half of them placed. I think 51, 27, more than half, and then to get 8 into the finals is it's crazy. That's a really, really impressive mark. So hey, let's continue that, and let's get even more on the podium and even more at the top of the podium.
My call out for next season is simply this: if you're out there and you've been watching Wrestling Wednesday a lot, you like what our coverage looks like, and you want to see more live coverage of wrestling, maybe you're passionate about the sport, you want to talk about it, we would love more announcers to be into doing, the wrestling matches live. Chris Colucci has done a great job the last couple of years giving us live coverage of wrestling, but as anyone knows, he's one guy, and he just got sworn in as a police officer on Monday. So he's one guy that's doing as much as he can. If we can get more on the roster, we can get more live wrestling on the network, and that would just elevate our coverage so much. It would make it easier for me and Gary to keep a thumbprint on the pulse of wrestling if we have broadcasts to go back to and watch and things like that. So if you're out there, you enjoyed this year of Wrestling Wednesday, you enjoyed YSN's coverage of wrestling, but you wanted to get even better, and you want to put foot in the pool of broadcasting, reach out to us before next year starts. We'd love to get you into the team broadcasting wrestling for us next year, because there's a lot of matches out there that would be great to wrestle. So that's my call out for next year. Let's get even more live wrestling matches on YSN. That would be great. Gary, I guess that does it, man. If I had confetti, I'd blow it. What a great year it's been. We've interviewed, I think, almost every week we had a kid on. I think we missed 1 week, maybe, excluding the first week, which is a preview of the season. So it was great to have so many wrestlers on this show, and you bring so much to those interviews, obviously. So thank you for your time, and man, what a great season. What a great season.
Hey man, I'm happy to be here. I think this was the best idea that anyone at YSN has ever had. And hats off to you for the Wrestling Wednesday with, the great name for it. And, I know the kids in this area appreciate it. So appreciate you pushing for this, because I love doing it, and the kids deserve the recognition.
Gary, we will be back next year. We're officially renewed for season 7. Let's go. We got We got the call. We're renewed. Right. We're renewed. So season 7 next year, Wrestling Wednesday. I think next year will be 7. I think we're on 6. So 6, 7.
Oh boy, don't.
What a great, terrible note to end Wrestling Wednesday on. A terrible 6-7 joke. That's how you're gonna remember this season forever. Gary, thanks again for the time, man. We know we take a chunk of your Wednesday every day, so we thank you for the time, and we'll see you again next year.
Thanks for having me.
Gary Altizer, Wrestling Wednesday, wouldn't be it without him. Man, it feels wild. I remember the first year Wrestling Wednesday when it was me and Ty, and we were asking just stupid questions, just trying to get to know the sport, because we had no idea what wrestling, like the ins and outs of wrestling. We knew what it was, so like we weren't that oblivious, but like we didn't know any of these moves that he was talking about. We had to be like, hey, let's have an episode where it's just 101 wrestling 101. You just take us through the important words, and here we are 6 years later, trying to interview a kid every week and having intelligent interviews with things that we can actually ask. And Gary's done a lot for not just that, but also teaching me and Ty and everyone else at YSN kind of how to have intelligent interviews with wrestlers. And once again, we hope to have more wrestling live broadcasts next year. If you're interested in being a broadcaster, whether it be wrestling, whether it be baseball or softball coming up, there's also, I think, girls flag football added this year. Boys volleyball is a sport that we love coverage of. So if you're out there, you want to broadcast, make sure to reach out to us in the next couple weeks before the season gets into full swing. We can get you on the team. You can reach out to us on any of our social media accounts, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You can try TikTok. I don't have access to our TikTok, but it is out there. It does exist. Someone might see it. If you don't have social media, you can email us at info@ysnlive.com, and we'd love to have you a part of the team. So now we transition into more of the show, right? And one of the things we've been talking about for the last, couple weeks, the WBC wrapped up last night. Venezuela got the win over the United States 3-2. It was a great baseball game. GG's to Venezuela. We were rooting for USA as we always do. There's a reason our colors are red, white, and blue, and we will bleed those colors till the day that this company is gone, long and gone. It was a tough one. United States really just could not get that hit. The hitting was not there. Outside of the 2-run bomb from Bryce Harper in the 8th inning. That was all we could really muster. And DeRosa actually said in the postgame, he was right. We never put pressure on them on offense. That was one of the big reasons why our pitching, which was a big concern. I think we were kind of wondering what the pitching was going to look like because we used a lot of our arms. A lot of our arms were leaving the roster. What was it going to? Our pitching did fine. Gave up through 8 innings, 2 runs. It was tied at 2 in that double RBI double in the 9th for Venezuela to take that final lead. You give up 3 runs, you have every chance to win a game, especially with that lineup. It's got to be better. The hitting wasn't great, but what a run. Going all the way to the finals, I think United States is still, kind of proving that it's our pastime, but this time around it was Venezuela that got the first WBC championship, I think, in their country's history. So congratulations to them. Obviously it meant a lot to that country and to those people. You could see the emotions on the faces after and how much that meant to those players. Obviously that country, it's not an easy place to live. There are a lot of families there that struggle to get food, just like the normal families, not like the poor percentage of the population. We're talking a lot of the population in Venezuela, and that's why a lot of those MLB players, if you look in their careers and what they've used their money for, a lot of them go back to the country and go back to paying for surgeries and paying for car repairs for the police. I think I've seen that a lot. Trying to get the police force as equipped as it possibly can with the money that they're given back to. So, one, it's nice to see the players give back to their country, but also nice to see that moment for them. You could just tell the whole tournament they were playing for something more. And I think some of them were talking in the interviews about how it's just different than a World Series. There's some World Series champions on that team. And they said, it's great to play for your city, great to play for the people that have believed in you, but there's just something about playing for your country. And I think people in America can see the same thing, whether it's the WBC or the Olympics. There's just something different about playing for your country that you are citizens of. So you could tell there was a little bit more of an edge to the WBC. And I'll tell you what, WBC changed my mind on something that I was pretty stern in my thinking. And if you've watched this show, I've said it throughout the runs of baseball and softball in high school. I wanted a series in state. I thought when you get to state, when you get to the Final Four, you should have a best 2 out of 3 and make it a series. So we know that when we win a state championship, there's no doubt that the best team, at least that weekend, won. There's no chance for the fluky things that can happen in a fickle sport like baseball and softball. But watching the WBC where it's one game and that's it, it's single elimination when you get to the quarterfinals, I kind of liked it. Yeah, I kind of liked, hanging on every pitch, hanging on every play. It all mattered a little bit more. It was, I think, in the fans, I think that's one of the big reasons why it got a lot of engagement because, especially in our culture in America, we want it now. I think that's why football is so big, because you just get the win. Boom, you won. You don't have to wait to see who won a series for, a week. You don't have to play a series for a week to see who won it. You just know, hey, I'm watching this game. Whoever wins is moving on. Let's get it. Let's go. We're a very that's our culture. So I think that's why those type of format playoffs work so well in our country, our culture, because we are very much, let's take it, let's go, let's move on. So the Super Bowl, obviously, you go there, you win, boom, it's done. Now I'm starting to buy into this idea that maybe it's good in high school to have that single elimination. Gives everybody a chance. You really go in there feeling like, even if you're a big underdog, you just need that ball to go your way a couple of times in a sport like baseball and softball. We've been on the wrong end of that, which is why some of the times I've been like griping about, well, we're the better team. We should have won that game. Let's play a series and see how it shapes out. But there's something to be said about the what's the word I'm looking for? The sense of urgency that comes out of single elimination. And I kind of liked it watching the WBC. I'm going to read this. When you're solo, you have to bear with me because there's a comment, but I have to read it. So, let's see, Sean. So, Sean, does this comment mean that you want the series still? You want the 2 out of 3 in the state? I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm not going to sit here and say like that'd be the worst thing in the world to make a state semifinal and state championship 2 out of 3. I think you leave the rest. I know regionals and districts, leave them one. You don't have the time to play a series throughout the whole tournament. That would get kind of ridiculous because there's so many teams to kind of work through. But final. I wouldn't be like mad if they made the final 4 best 2 out of 3 and the state championship 2 out of 3. But now I'm kind of like, I don't hate the single elimination in the sport anymore like I used to. And I get it. Like, the reason why I hated it was because it didn't really work out for our team. So it kind of felt like, of course you believe in yourself. You believe in the teams you cover. You feel like they were the best teams. You feel like they could have won a series. So you kind of sit there and go, I want a series. But watching WBC, I kind of feel like I like the single elimination. So Sean does want best 2 out of 3 in the state. Like I said, I was right there with you for a long time, very, very like raising the flag. And once again, I'm not against it per se. If you can work out the logistics, obviously you have to, the sites, you have to be there more. So you'd have to be at Firestone Stadium a lot more than just the one weekend. I would not like it if you had to play doubleheaders, because that's kind of weird. Like if you had to play, let's say it's best 2 out of 3. So what they used to do, they don't do this anymore for supers and softball, super regionals and college softball. But what it used to be, like their game 1, and if the loser of game 1 won game 2, game 3 was right after, and that was kind of like, ugh, that really like that made game 1 so important. You almost win automatically if you win game 1, because it's really hard at that level to win 2 games in a row in a day against that quality of team. It was really hard to get upset in the Super. So they kind of changed that, where it's a 3-game series in 3 days. Baseball has been that way for a while, but softball took a while to get there. So you have, you win game 1 on Friday, game 2, if you lose it, then you have to come back and play Sunday in game 3. That would be, you'd have to obviously expand the semifinals. I think if you did that, you'd probably go to where basketball is right now, where the state semis would not be in the same place, wouldn't be in Firestone or Canal Park for baseball. You'd probably have the semifinals in neutral sites and then just have the championship series at Firestone. But then again, you have to say you're 7 divisions. You're adding 3 games per division so you'd have 21 games that you'd have to commit to, not always have to play, because best 2 out of 3, you can play 2 games. But that's what, at least 14 and as much as 21 games that you'd have to commit to at Firestone, which is what you do now. As a semifinal, you're committing to, 14, because you have the semis and the state championship. So you're 14 guaranteed games at Firestone the way it is now. So if you expanded it to a championship series, you'd have to put the semifinals somewhere else. I don't think you'd be able to book Firestone for that long. We've tried to book one game at Firestone. Let me tell you, it's not cheap. So I doubt the state would want to be there for an elongated amount of time. So you'd probably have to have the state semifinals at a neutral site, like they do in basketball now. For some of it, not all of the semifinals are at the University of Dayton. So you'd have to have some semifinals in different places and then bring the championship to Firestone. And then have the Firestone Stadium host maybe I don't know how long it would take, maybe 3 days worth of championship series. But I think the state would probably make you do double headers. And I don't know if I'd sacrifice that. I don't know. They'd probably make you do day one, and then day two would be a doubleheader if you needed the third game. I think that's how they would do it. I would not like that. It'd be really hard to tell a team that you have to win two games in one day in the sometimes it gets very hot at Firestone, especially because it's turf. So I don't know if I'd like that if that's the way the series would be held. If they could pull off a 3-game championship series and they'd have 3 days to get it done, that'd be the ideal. I don't think we're ever going to see that. That's just realistic. But in a perfect world where logistics don't exist, it would be great to see. Sorry, I didn't put that up for nearly long enough. But it would be great to see a state championship, at least a state championship, be a best 2 out of 3. Even if you made the semifinals one game and you just said, all right, the championship is going to be best 2 out of 3. It'd be cool. But like I said, the WBC making me kind of enjoy one and done baseball. I kind of liked it. Kind of liked the fact that, you just had to win that night. You had to find a way to win that night. I don't know if Venezuela gets the championship if they have to beat Japan more than once. Because Japan, remember, won the last time. They're very good. I think they were down 5-2 against Japan. So you don't know if Venezuela is necessarily the best team in that matchup for Japan. But they were the better team that night, and they came back and they won, and they just go on. Boom, boom, boom. That's how it works. It's, if it was a series, don't know if it goes that way. Japan's pretty dang good. So is Italy, by the way. You don't know if it goes that way. You don't know if it goes that way for the United States. There's no guarantee that they would have beaten Dominican Republic in a 3-game series. There's obviously reasons why you can't have the WBC be a series. They have a very limited amount of time with those players, so they, of course, can't do it. I liked it. I don't know how everyone else feels about the one and done in baseball. I'm sure there's old people that never want to see any change, and that's not real baseball. If you're not playing a series, you can't see the best team win. I get it, but I liked it. I liked it. Maybe it's because I'm used to our sports culture, like I was talking about, the way it is, but I liked one and done. One and done I liked one and done in the WBC. It was fun to watch. USA always, absolutely. We will always bleed red, white, and blue in this company, and I hope you do too, because there's no other way to do it. If you're out there and you're rooting for another team and you're an American citizen, don't meet me in a dark alley. That's all I have to say. Now, I do understand if you were kind of like, hey, my favorite team has some players from other countries. I hope they do well. I hope they succeed. I hope they find good at bats. I hope they, whatever. Or if you have, after the game's over and you're like, well, I'm happy for that player, watch them for a while. But you didn't root for them. That's the big key. I was in that boat. There were 4 Royals in the championship game. 3 of them were playing for Team Venezuela. Dude, I love Salvador Perez. Love that guy. He's one of my favorite players. He went for Venezuela. I'm happy for Salvi. Wasn't rooting for him. Michael Garcia, Royal, just signed him to a 5-year deal. Won the MVP. Happy for the dude. Awesome. Wasn't rooting for him. I was rooting for Bobby Witt in America because that's how we do it. That's how we do it here. YSN. That's how we do it in America. And that's how we do it. Should be doing it everywhere else. And the best thing about it is we beat Canada. So, hey, Canada, RIP. You keep trying, keep bringing it. We'll keep sending you back home. All right. You couldn't beat us in your sport. You're definitely not beating us in our sport. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And that's the most important thing about this whole tournament. We beat Canada. Get out of here. Barbecue's better than maple syrup. With that being said, we want to transition into some house cleaning for the rest of the week. We will not have a show tomorrow. We will be off the airways. So do not come here at noon and expect a show. YSN Live will be off. Please enjoy March Madness. It's awesome. 12:15 is the start of the tip-off. And also we want to wish the best of luck to Hoban, who will be playing in the state semifinals against Steubenville tomorrow in Dayton. And then if they win, they'll play on Friday in the championship. That'll be it for our basketball. That is the last team remaining. For boys basketball is Archbishop Hoban. So they will play tomorrow in the semifinals. If they win, when they win, come on, let's do it, Knights. They will go to the championship on Friday. And we hope that we're able to talk to some state champions next week, just like we did this week. How cool would that be? Hoban girls and boys both win a state championship. I have to do some research. The last time that a girls and boys team both won the championship in the same year for a school. I'm guessing it happens a lot more often than it does in college, obviously, because there's a lot more high schools and there's a lot more dominance. But I'd be interested to see the last time that a boys and girls team from the same school both won a state championship. We have the chance to do it. If the Knights can pull it off this weekend, we have the chance to do it. We also have more softball and baseball season previews coming at you as the week goes on. Recorded one this morning, recorded one last night. So keep an eye for those on our social media pages and our website. Also, please do keep an eye on our social media for more all-star announcements. We are getting those graphics up little by little. We're trying to spread them out. So if you haven't seen your name, don't worry. We have you confirmed. We're not gonna vomit them out all at one time. So we're trying to just spread them out a little bit. If you've caught on to the system, mostly in alphabetical order. So right now, I think in the girls we're at the S's, the boys were at the N's. So, hey, my school starts, my school name, by the way, my school starts with S. I'm going to be coming up pretty soon. The one thing you might see is, going back in the alphabet to get some people that have confirmed late. But I said it before, I'll say it again. The one thing that you won't see is a random school that comes out, down the alphabet from where we're at. So you will not see a random W school name pop up before we get through there in the alphabetical order. Rung of school. So we will have those coming out as the week goes. Monday, the very next show that we have, will be the All-Star Draft. So we will know who's playing for who. Who's going to be in the skills competitions will also be announced as well. So the draft will be our very next show on Monday. So don't miss that at all. For myself, DJ Oakley, who's always a big part of this show, Mike McKenzie, Gary Altizer for coming on Wrestling Wednesday. That is the last Wrestling Wednesday of the season. We thank him always for his time. We thank you for watching. We thank Jake Hughes, the state champion, for coming on during his lunch break to talk about what it felt like to be a state champion. We're so proud of all of our championship moments that we were able to celebrate this week, and we wish you the best of the rest of the week. Great weekend. Please have one, and make sure always, always, always let the sports be with you. I'm Anthony Hartwig. We'll see you Monday for the All-Star Draft.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.